Hey there everyone! Welcome back to another exciting video for the Shibarium community and its partners. I'm Cezanne Shib, and my mission is to spread knowledge and positivity within the Shibarium ecosystem. This video is the 26th of all X-Space Weekly DAO Update series. This X-Space was held July 18th, 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to KNINE Finance Weekly DAO Update Spaces. It's number 26 this week, and you're live. You are here early with the KNINE crew to tear into another week of KNINE DAO Update news, and we're going to have a whole bunch of news lined up for you. 7 days since our last visit, and you know how we do it here, or maybe you don't. I shouldn't assume. It's 26 episodes. Maybe I know what I'm doing, but let's assume you don't. We're going to bring in all the people from the community who are working on the things that make the machine move. We're going to have conversations with them. We're going to ask them what they've been up to since the last time we talked, and we're going to get updates. And if you are not sure how an X Spaces works, I'll also explain that, because I shouldn't assume. Hi, I'm the KNINE Finance account. My name is actually Pulse Digital or CryptoPulse9. I'm one of the DAO members. I'm one of the members of the community, just like the rest of these people. And I'm here working on the thing that I work on, which is hosting spaces, which is why you get to listen to me today. Now, I'm going to bring up people, and you can request to come up too by hitting the request to speak button. If you wanted to come up, if you've got updates for us on the things you've been working on, or if later you have questions, there's a button that says request to speak. You can use that. If you're somewhere that you cannot speak or you don't want to come up because you're shy, that's fine. We can work on that eventually. But the comment section on the bottom right is the next best thing you can do for me. Go down there. Even if you're not interested in asking me a question, let's just get some memes. Let's get some content down there. It's good for the algorithm, boosts the numbers for everyone. So get down there and have conversations about the spaces. You can also share it, put it on your timeline. You can DM people, let them know that we're live in case you think they forgot that we're here. Not that anyone would forget us, of course, but let them know that we're live. And then emojis are still free. It helps us as speakers. If you're hitting the emoji button, it lets us know that you're still seeing the show and stuff like that. So laugh and cry along with us as we go through the spaces today. So let's check and see who came up. You guys know we usually have the crew up here. Buzz, I see you're up here. Is your microphone working today? How are you?
I hope it's working.
Yeah, loud and clear, man. We'll see if it sticks up here. You guys know if you get disconnected, they cycle down and back up. The speaker spots are sometimes weird on spaces, so we'll see who makes it up. But Buzz is loud and clear. Adam, I see you're in a speaker spot. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing good, man. You're loud and clear too. It's good to hear you. Good to see you today.
Happy to be here.
Turtle, I see you're up in a spot. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. I hopefully sound good now, but just a little bit of a warning. I've got a storm coming in and already had a problem once, so if I drop, don't be too surprised. But hopefully loud and clear for now.
Yeah, sounds great. You throw up a hand if you need rescue or whatever. We'll send the chopper to the rooftop and get you if that's what we need. If that's what we need to do, we'll make it happen. So since the last time we got together, like I said, it was back on the 11th. There's always 7 days between when you hear us live here on the shows and stuff like that. There have been a lot of things that have gone on. Now, I've got a little list of things in front of me, and if you follow this X account, you would also have basically everything on this list, because this is just a continuation of the things that we update the community with in other places. If you're in the Telegram, this would also be in the pin posts. If you're in any of the groups like the Facebook group, this would have come across your feed as a number of posts across there. So this is, remember, just the X Spaces version of those things. So as we go through the show, check the pin posts up top. A lot of what we're talking about will be up there because, like I said, it's coming from X profiles and stuff like that. So use that as your reference point, and we'll start with Buzz like we always do. So Buzz, since the last time we got together, I themed the whole thing this week. I hope everybody picked up on the farming theme. I thought I was being cute with it, but it has been a week where we've launched a new farming opportunity, and I think that's where we jump off today, right?
Yeah, it's been a week of a lot of shipping in terms of deliverables from us, which is awesome. I feel like I've been a little bit quieter in the Telegram and things like that, which means that we're working a way to get things launched. And just in the last week, it's been pretty crazy. Like, finalized a lot of things with ETH Toronto to have our hackathon going on there and promoting more people building on Shibarium. Launched on Chewyswap, following such a great launch on Shibarium. We have our Gitbook up now, which has all of our product documentation in there and is incredibly detailed for those who want to dive into every single element of how Bone Crusher is going to work. And then, yeah.
So hold on. I'm going to break you down because you're starting to chew through my news as if it was something that we have to get through in a hurry and you got to get back to work. You got an hour. You're on my time, bro. I need more questions than that. What the hell's a Gitbook? You say that because you know what a Gitbook is, but pretend there's somebody in here that doesn't, and give me the buzz GPT of what a Gitbook is, because I looked through this and you and I had this conversation about how, to your eyes or to someone who's familiar with Gitbook, you can look through it and you're like, oh, this is a great document. This is helpful. But you also said you felt it needed to be marketized, and I think that's what I was looking at it for. So what is a Gitbook? Why are you so excited about it?
A Gitbook is basically text that explains how a product works, and it's generally written so that somebody who's technical or a developer can take that and understand all of the nuances about the product. So why it's exciting for the community is it shows just how close we are to launching the product, and just the emphasis on having all of the tools available for developers to build on top of KNINE when it launches. And this was so pivotal to get up, and for those who are able to take a peek at it, you'll see how extensive this documentation is. There's an incredible level of detail there. But we wanted to get that up this week because the hackathon started, I believe it was yesterday. So there's already been a great amount of interest in our hackathon bounty. So those documents, that Gitbook, really assist developers in understanding what KNINE does and how it fits into Shibarium, and then gives them an extra layer of detail to see exactly how it works and where are the endpoints and where are the contracts and how do I use the testnet, how do I access the testnet, and things like that.
Who can we throw flowers at for putting that document together? I know you had some help on that, Turtle and you, right?
Yeah, Shima, Turtle, some people behind the scenes doing a lot of work too that are a lot quieter, but Turtle was the one that clicked all the buttons and made it look fancy. So flowers up for Turtle.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Turtle, because I looked through it too, and I know how Gitbooks are one of those things that it's just everywhere you go when you're applying for exchanges or you're trying to get partnerships, they're going to have that, submit your Gitbook link here. So even if a lot of people here don't care, they don't read it, it is one of those things that I've learned from Lightspeed is one of the things you must use to check the boxes, particularly for VCs and for larger interested parties that bring in money off of the books, as it were. So to those that also, the people behind the scenes, the movers or shakers, whoever it is. Thanks everybody for putting the Gitbook together. Now it's going to be our job as a community, those of you that are listening. If you have not looked through this thing yet, I'm sorry, but I don't have a nice way to say this. You're just going to have to get like a cup of coffee and your reading glasses and sit down and spend a few minutes and try and dive through it. Because like Buzz had mentioned, it's not like the sexiest format. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be a teaching tool. So you don't have to read the whole damn textbook. I'm not saying that that's something that's necessary for every holder of KNINE to do, but you sure would walk away with a better understanding of things. And I also did throw, Buzz, and we don't have to go into a full tangent here. That's why I threw the knine.edu into the title up top, because I was reminded yet again, this week that I think there's still so much required learning and education. And we have this like balance that we have to walk as people that might know more, and how much we need to hand spoon feed to people. So as documents like that become available and we find better ways to get this information out, we all have got to make sure we understand what we're working with and how liquid staking works and what this process looks like. Because as we explain it to people as they come into the group, man, when discovery happens, we have to have a cohesive, singular understanding of how this all works, or we're going to be sending people, into tailspins and spirals, chasing staking or validating and all these different terms that are going to mess with people. So I'll get off my soapbox about it, but that Gitbook matters is what I'm trying to get. I didn't want it to just be a footnote that you were like, oh, the Gitbook's live and go past it, because it's seriously important, even though it's not like flashy cool. So shout out to everyone that built the Gitbook. That'll be my end of it. Turtle, do you want to speak a minute on the Gitbook, because I know you did so much work on it?
Yeah. I just want to also include the thanks to the developers who provided a lot of the underlying, text for what became the Gitbook, but it is a very tedious process to organize everything in a way that really it's for developers or people who have like a super deep interest in understanding protocol detail, or maybe you're a big holder and it just makes you feel warm and fuzzy when you see, oh wow, look, this thing's real, and here's all of the details, and here's links to the contracts, and that kind of thing I think is good for the community, but also, as Buzz pointed out, to support the hackathon. The docs also will continue to grow, and one thing I did want to pick up on that you mentioned is other forms of educational content are in the works. I saw some chatter in Telegram about it yesterday. Maybe it'll be called the KNINE campus or something, who knows. But an area where we can kind of aggregate all the great user-generated documentation and education, but also the app itself, the testnet app and the main app will have its own FAQ that are very specific to that app. And there'll also be another FAQ going live on the site sometime next week that kind of helps bring everything together. So we're doing our best to identify the educational opportunities, and anytime someone sees an opportunity that we could strike on, or if you want to create something yourself and you think it could help the community, get in touch, get on the forum, put a proposal in, whatever works.
Excellent.
The more people.
Business development too. I know Turbo will be using it a lot, and members of the community can use it too. Like if there's a partner project that you see could be using K9 and benefiting from it, there will be pages in the Gitbook that would have everything. For example, if a project is on Shibarium and they have their LP currently with their token in Bone, projects may want detailed documentation of how they could use their Bone, put it into the K9 product, receive K9 Bone in return, start earning on that Bone, and while also creating their liquidity pool with KN Bone instead of Bone there. So there'll be pages like that for business development opportunities where members of the management council or even the community can start approaching people and be like, hey, you should do this, and here's the page that has all of the documentation that you would need in order to understand this and do step by step what could be in the best interest of your community.
Yep, and the developers are going to want it from the Gitbook because that's the box they're going to want to check too. It's important to have just the little things summed up like that. So you mentioned Chewyswap. I want to circle back to Chewyswap because I actually have a few bullet points I wanted to go over just to be clear on Chewyswap. There was a launch on Chewyswap, and that was the token itself is live, can be purchased on Chewyswap. The LP exists, but then there's also the launch for the LP farm, and I want to differentiate. So can you talk about the difference between the two so people know what's going on?
Yeah, so the launch on Chewyswap was just us adding liquidity there as a DAO so that people can buy and sell K9 using Chewyswap, which is a decentralized exchange on Shibarium. And it's the second decentralized exchange that we're on Shibarium, the first, of course, being Shibaswap. And so that was the first thing that we did. I believe that was on Tuesday where we executed that. And then yesterday, the Chewyswap team was kind enough to add a farm, which means that if you are somebody who owns some Bone and you're somebody who owns K9, you can pair those tokens together, put them into the liquidity pool on Chewyswap, and in return for that, you get what's called an LP token, and you can stake that token on the CHEWY platform to earn their token, which is called CHEWY, and your rewards update every minute. And I think right now, I'd have to look, but it's you're earning around a 60% APY. I believe that's about 2% on your holdings per month on Chewyswap by putting what's called an LP farm on there. So the caveat there is that you got to own Bone and you got to own K9. You put liquidity in there, and you can stake that liquidity. And we're also speaking with the CHEWY team due to our partnership that we were able to establish with them to have a single staking pool as well. So hopefully in the future, haven't actually finalized this with them yet, but hopefully in the future you'll be able to just stake K9 to earn CHEWY as well.
So just for clarity and transparency, because I don't know how many people have experience with LP, we're going to take like a small dive. This should be a much more technical discussion, but I drew a little graphic for myself to remind myself to differentiate. And the way that you said that was perfect to give me the chance to do this. So you're going to be taking K9 and Bone, and you pair them together and you hand that to Chewyswap. Chewyswap says, cool, we're going to add this to the liquidity pool for you. And in exchange, we're going to give you a receipt. That's called an LP token. You get to hold on to that. The price of that LP token is variable and includes risk, though, doesn't it, Buzz? It's not just a marker, because the price is variable based on the change in the pool. And when you go to return the LP, there is change associated with that. And I'm not an LP expert, but we have a layer first before we even worry about the farm. Having an LP token is not just a receipt, correct?
It's not just a receipt. So when you put LP into a position like K9 and Bone on Chewyswap, say you put $1,000 into that, you would have to have $500 worth of K9 and $500 worth of Bone. And the LP token is a receipt that at any given point in time, you can withdraw your $1,000, your portion pro rata of that pool, the token amount that would, I'm not explaining it very well, but the ratio between Bone and K9 can change. And how that actually works in practice is that if the price of K9 were to go way up, when you remove that LP, you'll have less K9 and more Bone, and it works as an inverse relationship too with the opposite. And what that's called, if people wanted to do their own research and Google around, it's called impermanent loss. So impermanent loss is basically the risk that you're taking of adding LP versus holding either Bone or K9 individually. Because if either of those tokens go way, way, way up, you may have earned more by just holding the token than you would have in the LP position. So that is the risk to earning those CHEWY tokens.
And then when we've got that LP token, which includes its own risk, which you just described as impermanent loss, or the variability in the pool, but the discrepancy between the two pools as your position changes, handing that token over to the farm does not mitigate that risk. So you've got like a token that holds risk going into a farm that earns percentages back on you. And I'm not trying to FUD, or I'm not trying to make this like less enticing. I just want to be clear as crystal as I can about what you guys would be getting into, because liquidity farming is like you're getting into the DeFi side of stuff, and this is what makes Buzz like sweat under the collar. I mean, like, we're getting into DeFi. It's in Turtle's name, you guys. This is where we're headed. This is the cool stuff that we've talked about, but you guys got to know this stuff. Don't get into this stuff if you're not 100% certain that what you're doing is a decision that you want to make, and that you're not just throwing money at an LP and not understanding what happens. Because the last thing I want to do is have like 5 spaces go by and people yelling at Buzz because when they claim their LP, their ratio was different, and it's going to be like, yeah, that's how it works. Oh no, that's exactly how it works. So if you guys need to corner Buzz, or if this is a conversation that intrigues you and you're thinking to yourself as you listen, I don't know enough about LP, this is a cool sub conversation that could be a Telegram chat sometime, or you could get these guys to step aside and do it, because it would be hard to do on Spaces. The audience doesn't get to do the back and forth the way that you could in a Telegram and do it in a written format. But LP discussions are lengthy and they're technical, but you guys have got the right crew here with Buzz and Turtle and everybody in the Telegram to kind of lead this. And it's an educational thing that we have the opportunity to do, because if we're going to be providing the DeFi side of what's going on, this won't be the first farm or the last farm that we end up talking about. And I'm not just saying that as like alpha. I'm just saying you need to know this stuff. So thank you, Buzz, for getting more in depth about that. And I'm sorry for all the future headaches that I have caused you by pinning this conversation on you. But liquidity is tough, and I don't want someone to take their impermanent loss into permanent sadness, if that would be how it worked. Now, in better news and more exciting things, the Hackathon bounty is live, and you said the Gitbook was a necessary complement to the Hackathon, because the people that are doing this need to know what they're making. So can you tell me, because I've got the tweet and I think it's pinned, ooh, that's a penalty, it's an X post. I actually said tweet out loud. It's pinned up top for everyone to look at. There's a huge amount of money on the line for people who are willing to build for Shibarium. So a few questions in line, because I know you'll cover all this. How much are we giving away for? What kind of product, and who are you hoping to attract?
Yeah, so as a DAO, we had obviously the 2 votes that we talked about on our last update. And one of them was this bounty that was going to go forth at ETH Toronto. So it's $10,000 worth of KNINE, and there are guidelines of how the submissions are reviewed. So it's not a guarantee that all of that $10,000 gets given out. That you, as a developer or somebody participating in this bounty program, there are criteria that you need to meet, and those criteria are carefully crafted so that the output is valuable to KNINE and to the DAO. So there's $10,000 worth of KNINE up for prize there, and the things that we're trying to incentivize, we really did a brainstorming session directly with the ETH Toronto team, and what we came to is that you really want to give developers a sense of creativity, and Shima could talk about this a lot as well because he participates in actually a lot of hackathons. And what we did is we came up with some really cool products that we think Shibarium would benefit from, but then we labeled them a little bit more general. So things like a launch platform for new projects, somewhere where if you have an idea for a token or a project, you could use this platform to help build it for you if you're not that technical. More analytics dashboards. We think that there's a lot of missing pieces within Shibarium that developers would be able to identify. Validator tracking as well. More educational onboarding. Education is going to be paramount to get people to learn how to bridge or how to do LP, like we just talked about, and having almost like a quest or a journey where people can earn points would be a really fun product to have, not only with KNINE but Shibarium in general. And we also put a prompt for interactive rewards as well. To maybe a developer has a great idea of how we could onboard more people to Shibarium. So we kept those prompts very generalized to give inspiration to developers, and very, very excited about the amount of interest that we've gotten in the background. And I know there's a couple of people who have messaged me privately that saying that people that they know in real life who are developers in and around the Ethereum ecosystem have actually messaged them privately saying, hey, did you see this KNINE thing and this bounty that they put up, and what's Shibarium? And it's really exciting to see that it's reaching a new audience, and other people are starting to think, oh, it'd be very cool to build something on Shibarium because of this huge bounty. So hopefully we get some great products that are built out of this campaign, but also get many more builders and eyes on Shibarium, which ultimately the mission of our DAO is to bring more builders and more DeFi to Shib. So I think it's going to be a net positive for everyone.
Money makes moves. If that's what it takes to put people on it, that's the simplest way to get mercenaries, whether it's white hat or black hat. You know, after the way this week has gone, we know that people will work hard to store the money is at. So in crypto, if that's what it takes to get them interested, and then they see that this entire ecosystem is there for them to continue to build on. And I think what you've talked about in all the AMAs I've heard you talk about is that when you came over as a developer, once you see the support that the L2 gets from the Shib army, it's unlike what happens in a lot of other places. So hopefully you bring them in with the money, you know, then that's the better mousetrap. And then once they get here, they're sold on the whole Shiba Inu experience. So it's a smart idea. I hope we get a lot of good entries. What kind of updates do you expect along the way? Because this went live now, and we're a month out from ETH Toronto. So is there any prerequisite that you guys are having communications with people who develop along the way? Do we get teasers, or is that just bonus points if they're smart enough to do stuff like that?
Pretty much just bonus points. So the hackathon does run for a month, but the reality with every hackathon is that people wait till the last minute. And most hackathons are a weekend long and things like that. So people will go on like what we would call coding benders, and they're kind of planning out what they want to build and ideating and seeing the bounties on the website. Right now, there's been a Telegram channel that's been opened specifically for people who are building in the hackathon. That was a requirement from Dora Hack. So we've seen a few people join that. We know that a lot of people are seeing the bounty on there. Nothing being built yet, but none of the bounties have been built on yet. And that's very common for hackathons. There's still nearly a month until the ETH Toronto conference, and expect there to be a flurry of development activity. And when you look at the past hackathons that ETH Toronto has hosted, the majority of the activity is during the conference itself, and then the judging happens after. So won't be too many updates along the way. I think most of the updates will be in GitHub for those who are able to read code and look into GitHub like that. But as always on these DAO spaces, when we see things, we'll flag them and let the community know what is being built and what kind of interest there is.
If people were interested in trying to share this, where's your audience for this? I mean, is this something for ShibTech Discord? Where are the builders? Because this isn't like a token. You don't just go on X and you're like, hey, we've got a hackathon going on. Because most of our accounts are not built to attract those people. We're not being followed like that. Where are your targets for even talking about this or promoting it in your mind?
Well, the great thing about working with DoraHacks and ETH Toronto is they have a huge mailing list of people who participate in their hackathons all over the world. And the hackathon is not actually physical. There is a physical component at the conference. The hackers are not going to be at the same venue as our whales and our community members who will be at the conference. The hackers will be at a nearby university for those who are able to make it to the conference, but there's no prerequisite or requirement that makes it so that somebody has to travel to Toronto to participate in the hackathon. Anybody can do it globally, and DoraHacks has that incredible mailing list, and that because they host so many hackathons of people who are going to participate around the world. So we're really leaning on this as a strategy to bring new developers in the space, but if those who are in the audience are in the Shibarium Tech Discord or any other places. I know Funk has shared this in some development communities amongst Shibarium folks as well. Feel free to share it. And of course, we would welcome people who are already in the Shibarium ecosystem as well to be building. And the great thing for the DAO is that the prompts that are available in this bounty, there's huge bonuses if the product makes revenue for the DAO and integrates some of the assets and some of the products that we are building with KNINE.
Come get that money. If you guys want it, it's right there for you. It's been laid out on paper. There's $10,000 fresh and ready between now and the start of ETH Toronto, at which point you're going to hear a lot more about it. Now, you mentioned the hackathon, and the $10,000 was part of a vote that went through with a second initiative as well, and I believe that was a tax structure change. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, the two votes. So one, of course, was the bounty for the hackathon, which was approved, and both of these votes, actually, I think it was over just around 99% of people who voted yes for each proposal, and the quorum was met by, I think, 260%. So we're continuing as a community and as a DAO to just get incredible involvement amongst our DAO and voting process. The second vote was to increase the taxes, the sell tax on the Ethereum network for our Uniswap pool, and that was implemented and increased to 4.9%. It was at 3%. And the taxes on Shibarium, the sell tax is consistent at 3% as it was before this vote, and there were a myriad of reasons and rationales in that proposal as to why, but one of the main reasons was to try to drive people away from Ethereum and onto Shibarium, as we're starting to educate people on why they're going to want to go there when the KNINE product launches. So another incentive if you are trading on Ethereum to move over to Shibarium and start using it there, because there's lower taxes and there's some other things that were considerations in there, like hopefully penalize some of the arbitrage bots that are buying on exchanges and withdrawing and selling on a DEX. So due to the voting results, I think the community saw this as a major net positive, and it's already been implemented.
Excellent. Turtle, you want to touch on some of that? I know this is all voting and forum related stuff.
No, yeah, Buzz pretty much covered everything. I think one of the most exciting things to me is watching the quorum grow, as Buzz pointed out, and seeing the participation. We're always trying to follow best practices for how we set the thresholds, and then, we're usually blown away by the result of the community. So it's just nice to see everyone so engaged. And, every time something comes up in the forum, the community, is pretty much all over it. It becomes a main topic in Telegram, and I start getting DMs about it. So the process seems to be working really well.
When you mentioned the quorum, I'm wondering two different reasons. When you see the number exceed 200+% of quorum like that, do you start thinking about walking the quorum up a little bit higher so that the number doesn't exceed 100% by quite as much? And then two, is that already a consideration with the vesting schedule releasing and those extra tokens becoming a voting factor as well? Like, what are your thoughts on quorum adjustment? And like, what's your ideal percentage? Like over 100% sounds great, but like 400% is just like, well, what's wrong there? So where's your ideal point?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? So we've looked at a bunch of other DAOs and tried to get a sense of how they've performed over time. And in the earlier days, it is all over the place typically because they're trying to find that balance between token distribution and whatever model they have for a year or two, let's say for vesting, versus just market health and community participation overall. For us, we've been increasing it aggressively since the vesting schedule has been, out and in place. And really, I thought we were increasing it maybe too much, and apparently that's not the case. So it is a point of conversation. I don't know that we've identified the perfect number or if one even exists, but the goal is obviously to keep things as close to, I would say, the 150 to 250% range as possible, because not every vote is going to be as appealing, and not everyone's going to participate every time. And you also have people starting to bridge. So there's other elements that we have to take into consideration. We do have plans to get voting enabled for the Shibarium version of KNINE. But at the moment, only the tokens on Ethereum can vote. So kind of measuring all those moving pieces is not a perfect science, but is something that I think we're getting close to a good pace.
It's interesting to think about tracking the bridging as a kind of a cooling effect to what would have been the amount of tokens that were hitting the voting pool, kind of cooling off for a second. So I'm actually glad I asked the question. I know you're looking at it. I'm just glad I asked because I know it's not just as easy as slowly turning the dial up. There's more moving behind there.
Yeah. I tend to overthink those types of things, so I appreciate you asking.
Well, but that's what we want to know, or at least inquiring minds want to know. It needs to at least be said out loud so people go, oh shit, I didn't even think about that. But every time when he keeps saying we're over quorum, it's not just because he's like got a goal for setting it too high. There's got to be a sweet spot because you don't want it to be blown away every time. You're not trying to set it in an unreachable fashion, but you don't want it to just absolutely exceed, or it doesn't look genuine, or it looks like it was a too short of a goalpost. So it's fascinating.
Yeah, no, I couldn't say it better.
Well, I appreciate you backing it up. I'm glad that I only have to talk about it. If all I have to do is say it eloquently, then I'm off the hook for all the hard work, man. So thank you for doing it. It's tough. Funk snuck in the back door and came in like he'd been here the whole time and sat at the table. Funk, what's up?
Hey, not much, guys. Sorry, I was on a call with Quick Swap of all people, but yeah, they're cool over there. And sorry I was late for this, but I obviously missed some of the updates for the first 30 minutes, so I'm coming in a little out of context here, but happy to give any kind of updates or anything else.
Well, I got two things. I got one that I saved because you might know a little bit more about it than these guys do. I have two things that I haven't actually asked about yet. One is the Debank portfolio tracker update, because I know we talked actually last week about using Debank to track the changes on the Treasury wallet. So this week, it looks like Debank is now part of our tracker too. Is that true, Buzz? Is that happening?
Yeah, so Debank had a rudimentary tracking system for Shibarium in general, and Debank, for those who don't know, is probably the #1 portfolio tracker in DeFi. So even the most advanced of DeFi positions that you can get into, you can track your portfolio across pretty much every single chain. I believe it's only EVM compatible chains, but definitely the top tracker that I use and Shima uses, and I'm sure Turtle uses it on a daily basis as well. And the KNINE token was not tracking there on Shibarium, so we put in a pull request there. They were able to implement it and got enough votes to get them to implement tracking there as well, and just a great line of communication now to the Debank team, so that when the KNINE product launches, those who are using it will be able to use Debank to track their portfolio across ETH, Shibarium, and any other EVM chains that they're using. So the buck doesn't really stop there in terms of the amount of integration that KNINE will have with Debank. And I believe Shima is actually in like the top 1% of all Debank users. He calls it his DGen score, and he has a really great line of communication to them there, and he was really the one who spearheaded that, and will be spearheading all of the KNINE products being integrated on Debank, and really important tool to have the most sophisticated of DeFi DGens to be able to track their portfolio when using KNINE.
Well, I guess we all owe a big thanks to Debank for listing K9 on there. And I'm sorry that I said that out loud, but I couldn't resist myself. Funk, when we were talking earlier, we were talking about the complexities of some of these DeFi things. When you think of Debank and actually being able to track across the chains, and when you've got these staked positions and different chains, Debank providing that could be crucial for people to make sure that they're keeping an eye on multiple balls that are being juggled. What do you think, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a really robust utility. A lot goes into. I've got a lot of experience in the data aggregation side from blockchains, and being able to put that really in nice, neat endpoints and a friendly user experience for people to see. But also with the level of detail that they want, it's really tough to balance that. And then, not to mention everything that goes into how they built that out there. You know, do they have physical servers? Or they have their own nodes on all these different blockchains? Every time a new blockchain gets added, do they build a new box for it? Using third-party data services. So obviously, you know, getting all that data is one thing, but then getting it accurate is another. Being able to prune the nodes if needed, and, you know, functionally being able to make sure that there's no downtime, redundancy nodes, and have like guaranteed uptime for clients. Because these types of things, I mean, Zorion is famous for giving, like, just going completely haywire and telling people they've got millions of dollars and things like that. So it sounds like Debank, you know, Buzz trusts them, and Shima does. Then who am I to say anything else? But obviously a lot goes into it, and you know, we're grateful to have that connection there.
Yep, it'll be fun. I need to learn more about myself. Go ahead, bud.
I find the best utility of Debank is like if you have a wallet and you've been using for many years and maybe doing some DeFi positions like LP farming or staking or whatever it may be on a variety of chains. I find that the best utility of Debank is finding out that you have lost treasures on chains that you may have forgotten about. So oftentimes LP positions won't show in your wallet, stake positions won't show in your wallet, but if you do go to Debank, they are able to find all that. So it's a really great tool to have.
Well, we should send a message to them and see if they want to get together for a Spaces. I don't know if they have a Spaces presence, but they should slide through for an episode, and they can give us some more of an in-depth dive into what they're doing. I think they'd be hard-pressed to turn down an opportunity to come to the best community update Spaces that there is on the platform. We can see what they can do. We'll send it from this account at some point. Let's see what they're up to. I don't know if one of you guys have got a better relationship with them, but probably from this account would be the easiest. We'll figure that out. Stay tuned for next week's update on whether or not Debank rebukes chains reach out for Spaces. We'll get them in here. I had another update before I go through the reset here that I had. I saw a new video was posted on the X timeline from someone named Crypto June. Who here knows the most about how that happened? Is that Funk? Is that you that set that up? Or where'd that come from, Adam? Is that you?
Yeah, it's a good buddy of mine. So let me actually pin it up to the top if not already. So I had a conversation with June about a week and a half ago, and I was just telling him, you know, all about KNINE, really excited about, you know, what's been happening here and all the big updates to come. And I was like, you know, you should really make a video about it. I'm sure they would really appreciate it. And he said, okay, tell me a little bit more. And, you know, we went over some of the docs and some things he needed to know. And he said, okay, I think I took enough notes. I'm going to do a deep dive. And if I have any questions, you know, I'll let you know. And then he sent the unlisted video, and I was like, man, this is good. So then I got it all sent over to, you know, Buzz and Funk here. They loved it as well. And one thing led to another. You know, it's on the main X page.
Well, you know the rule today, content is king. And when it comes to video content and stuff like that, we're fighting the war on two sides: long form content, videos over 10 minutes and stuff, and then shorts on YouTube and things like TikTok and stuff like that. So anytime there's a creator that's willing to do that stuff, man, we got to do what we can to show them appreciation. So we do appreciate it. Let them know that you were right. Thank you. We appreciate that from a whole group of people that are online. I don't know if that validates you or not, but damn it, that was great, because there's just not enough people that are cranking out the videos, Adam. So thank you for turning him on to it. And it does give some credence to what was being said earlier about, I was listening to someone in space to say that in person is still one of the best ways to shill, to really have a conversation with somebody. So it's funny that you say that you just had this conversation with him, because it's so much more effective. Funk, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say big thanks and shout out to Adam for kind of making that happen, and happen organically again as well. Like when someone really likes the project, they do a deep dive and they buy a bag and, you know, promote it themselves. That's exactly what you want to see. That's sustainable and growable, as opposed to just paying someone to you know, that doesn't even know you, to be like, yeah, okay, what is your project? I don't know, I'll make something about it. It's a big difference. But the important thing that I wanted to touch on there is getting people like Adam, getting people who are self-directed and can go find, and the community as well, who can organically go bring value to the KNINE ecosystem is really important, which is a perfect segue for me to mention that we implemented a raid week. I don't know if I can talk about that for a second.
Of course.
Yeah, so basically every week from here on out, there's 2 new initiatives going on, and they're going to get more refined over time. This is just kind of the first iteration. We just kind of, most importantly first is to get things out the door when it comes to community, and then get feedback and see how we can refine it. But every day of the week, there's going to be a different social media that we attack, with 2 days attacking X, rating X basically, because X is probably one of the more important DeFi platforms. As the Telegram, I would say. So there's TikTok Day, Facebook Day, X Day, as well as, I'm blanking on the Telegram Day. So basically each of these days, there's a different mod or myself who is in charge of the raids for that day. And this is going to be running week over week, guys. We're going to be hitting up all these socials. We are on the X days going to utilize ShieldBot maybe once or twice a day, nothing too invasive or obtrusive. But we're going to be targeting large X accounts, large TikTok accounts that are associated with cryptocurrency. We're going to be rating them, telling people informed messages about KNINE. Because one thing I hate is when I go on a site and people are like, oh yeah, dog with hat to the moon, or whatever it is. So I really want to refine this so that when people are posting, they're posting information like, you know, hey, did you know that Lido Finance is ranked 53? Join the new liquid staking derivative for Shibarium. Because when people read comments like that, they're not just going to glaze over it and think of it as a shill. They're going to be like, oh, that's interesting. They're actually going to learn about KNINE. So we're going to be doing that week over week, every single week. It's going to be really important to get our name into the socials, to grow the socials. That's a big part of what I do, is figure out how to grow these socials, which, by the way, Facebook has grown tremendously the past week, done really, really well there. And today is Facebook Raid Day. So if you're listening, please go ahead, take your Facebook account. You don't have to tell people what your Telegram name is. Just go give the main account, join that group, and throw likes on things, throw comments, and help engage in the raids. Today we're raiding the official Shiba Inu group to try to get more holders from over there. The other part that we've implemented here is a meme contest. So every single week, we'll be looking for memes in the Telegram chat. We're going to pick 3 winners each week, at least for the first week. Like I said, we're going to be refining this process as we kind of test the waters with it. But the top 3 memes is picked by the mods, and no repeat winners. So if one person has 2 of the best memes, we'll pick the winning meme and push that to the next week. They'll get $25, I believe, is the prize right now. So get your memes, and this is going to run week over week as well, because we want the community to be having fun. We want them to be laughing. We want them to come there for entertainment, to know when they wake up they're going to see 173 missed messages in KNINE or 200 missed messages, and there's going to be lots of fun in there to read through. It's what builds community. It's what makes the meme coins effective. And we have everything down with the tech, everything down with the utility. So now we're tackling, how do we make it fun? How do we build that meme culture, as well as what made Shiba Inu so famous and popular?
The raids are such a good idea for the community to wrap their minds around the schedule. You said one more time, today is Facebook Day. Today is Thursday. So every time we get together, it'll be Facebook Raid Day. And what's tomorrow?
Tomorrow's going to be X Day, and Frank's going to be leading tomorrow, our very own Frank. So thanks for that. I hope he's got some good ammo lined up and has some good strategies for how to best tackle X, and I'll be working with him on that. Again, the first week, it's just important to get out the door, but next week, I think we could take what we've learned and really refine it and make it more and more effective as time goes on, including giving random awards and things like that out to people who are raiding. So that's always up for option there.
And remember, for the most part, everybody, if you're using Telegram as your home base to do this when you're talking to Funk and Frank and everybody else about doing this, the media tab that is available in the chat is going to contain a significant amount of K9 related media, so that even if you don't have this stuff saved on your phone, it's all there. The Crypto Marketing Titans group has made so much stuff that if you don't think there's something that relates to your post, like if you guys are rating a post and everybody's doing a certain theme and you don't think you've got the right stuff, just search, look through, scroll through, and ask Funk or ask Frank, whoever's in there leading these things, because we've got so much media that has passed through that chat that is all still in there. There's no excuse, because there are certain things you can do on your X posts, and I won't go on forever about this, but obviously including media helps people. It makes them stop scrolling. It makes them look at your post, and you get measured on how long people stop on your post. That's important. If you have the time to include an alt tag when you use an image, it'll ask you if you want an alternate tag to go with it for people who would like to read what the picture is about. Stop and just put K9, or put the link to the K9 Telegram. It was a great place to hide links, is in the alt tag, because links in your main post will actually kind of deboost your post. So sometimes I'll hide links in the alt tag, and then if you've got someone who's enthusiastic and stuff, they can find it that way. So there's all kinds of tips and tricks as you learn each platform. So this is why it's important to stay tuned in. And if you consider yourself a specialist on any platform, I said this a spaces or two ago, go and help them on that day. Go tune in. Like if I know X stuff, I'll probably try and slide through and see what they're doing and see if I can help them refine posts. If you consider yourself an absolute killer on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, let's get there and help Funk out and help them craft posts. Make sure the images are, formatted correctly so they're not getting cropped wrong. Just the little things that you might take for granted that we need that. Do more of that. And thank you, Funk, for taking the initiative to put together the raids. I've got the time left on the schedule for Buzz's Corner and Funk's Corner both today. If you guys have got time for me, I got time peeled off for both of you. You guys want to do that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the first thing I want to do is give like a props out to Turtle. So there is a pin post up in the Jumbotron here, just celebrating how much Bone has gone up in the last week. And Turtle is somebody who is always pushing on our end to make sure that we're dollar cost averaging our Bone positions and helping to execute on those trades as well. And that's been very fruitful for the DAO and for our Bone positions. I think the majority of our purchases that have been announced over the course of the last few months have been in that sub 50-cent range, and I think the largest purchases were made around 44-cent Bone, and I know Bone had went up to I think as high as 59 cents this week, and just really celebrating that of like what a wise decision that was for us as a DAO to be accumulating a token that we need, but in a time of distress in the market, and just want to kind of call out that oftentimes when people are making financial decisions for their own portfolio, it's usually the best time to buy it is when people are fearful, right? And of course, none of us could have predicted that a presidential assassination would be something that would, or attempted assassination would be something that would put the market up like it did, and it seemingly was a unforeseeable event, but definitely paying dividends now for the DAO to be making those decisions to purchase Bone. But the majority of what I wanted to discuss today was just in the realm of security. So obviously security's been a hot topic in the last week, from especially within the Shib ecosystems. The first thing I wanted to talk about was just the I think it's Wazir X, the exchange that was hacked, and I think it was $110 million worth of Shib that was taken there. But I want to, like usual in these talks, spin it back to KNINE, and we've gotten a lot of questions from newcomers in our chat about why does the KNINE token have a blacklist function? Why does the KNINE token have a pause function? And if you look at what just happened to Shib, and another question is why is the token contract not renounced? And if you look at what just happened to Shib, there were many hours where the hacker had custody of the Shib before actually selling all of it. I think it was about 4 hours ago that he ran out of Shib and was selling it all. But imagine if Shib was able to actually just blacklist that address or pause the token or had control of the contract. And there's of course a lot of power that comes with having those functions in a smart contract, and with power comes risk in crypto. But when people are coming in the chat and asking like, hey, I saw that the KNINE token has this black mark on its score on DEX tools or whatever the site may be, I think that's a great example, albeit a sad one, and hoping that people who were impacted by that hack are eventually paid back. But a great example for our community to show, hey, we have a multi-sig that is DAO controlled, that controls these functions, and they're only going to be used in a manner where it's an emergency. And look at this emergency that happened with Shib. Imagine if as a community we would have had that ability to take action and not allow this hacker to steal people's funds and to negatively impact the token. So that was the first thing I wanted to touch on, and I just well wishes to anybody who is in the Shib army and in the community who was impacted by that, and sincerely hope that people are able to get access to their funds if they were impacted. And the second thing was there was a exploit in the Li-Fi protocol. Jumper Bridge is one that a protocol that I know of that would have been impacted, and there's a pin post in the Jumbotron just about revoke cash. And I wanted to talk about best practices when using DeFi products for anybody who's here who may not be familiar. But generally, whenever you're doing a swap on a DEX or adding LP or doing any of these actions directly on chain from your own wallet, the first transaction that you're going to need to do is an approval transaction. And what that transaction is doing is it's saying to the protocol, hey, I give you permission to use this much money of this coin that's in my wallet. And oftentimes when people are building dApps, they automatically set the approval so that when the user's prompted, they're approving a crazy amount. So if it's USDT, you might only have $1,000 of USDT in your wallet, but if you're just going and blindly approving them to use your USDT, you might be approving them to use like $1 million of your USDT. So if you were to ever hit the lottery and you get $1 million of USDT in there, and the protocol that you've given permission to access your funds, they might be able to exploit that and take your money, and that's due to that approval transaction that you've done. So best practice, and we're going to want to learn this as a community, especially when the KNINE product launches as well, even though it'll be fully audited and hopefully 100% safe to the best of our ability, is that when you are doing an approval transaction, only approve the amount that you want to use. So if you want to do a transaction for $1,000, you should only be approving $1,000 in your wallet. And the downside in that is you might, if you're using a product multiple times, you may need to do multiple approvals and pay more gas. But in my X post up there, what I said is that it's almost like an insurance policy. So you may spend a couple extra dollars here and there on approvals, but it's an insurance policy to make sure that if that protocol that you're approving the transaction for is ever exploited, your funds are still safe. And the second thing that you can do to protect yourself is to revoke approvals, and revoke.cash, which is in the Jumbotron there, is a great platform to use to check your wallets to see the approvals that you've given to different protocols. And you can go and you can pay a transaction, of course, but you can revoke approvals from all sites. And I think if you've been using a self-custody wallet for a long period of time, maybe a year, maybe a few years, there's probably a lot of websites on there that maybe they're no longer around. Maybe you forgot that you used it. Maybe they have gone under, whatever the case may be. Your wallet may have a lot of transactions historically on there of things that you've approved that you might not be aware of. And it's just best practice to go there, maybe set a calendar note or anything like that, a reminder every month or so to go to that website and revoke permissions to keep yourself safe. And just as we're launching the K9 product, want to keep people educated in terms of how to safely use DeFi products and do what we all love. And that's to retain custody of your own money, but do so safely.
You can say it as many times as you want, but there's always going to be someone out there that needs to hear it again. You should be very, very careful when you're connecting to anything. Those are all great points. And obviously it's been a reinforcement with what happened with all that Shib. So good points. Thank you. And make sure everyone to check the post up top and give it a read and also a like and a comment and stuff. Funk, what's been on your mind since last week? Last time I saw you 7 days ago, what's been ruminating with you?
Well, of course, everything K9 and everything else that I'm doing, of course. But in addition to that, the general market sentiment, I've noticed Bone shot up to 59 cents. That was pretty epic. Last week was pretty barren, and when you have a green week, it just feels good, man. And obviously you don't want to live and die by the market cycles, but I know when you're in the industry and when you work for crypto your whole life, business starts to boom when the market booms, and all of a sudden money starts changing hands again, and people are getting a little more greedy and a little less bearish. So I love those elements that have been changing in the market. I know ETH ETFs are coming up, it sounds like, maybe as soon as next week. So I'm really hoping that ETH skyrockets 10K, 20K, I don't care, 30K, bring it on, right? I think that is going to send the alt market as well. So, looking at the super cycle here, or I don't even know if it's a super cycle, it's just a regular 4-year crypto cycle so far as I can see. If someone's to follow the Bitcoin rainbow and that whole theory, and maybe it's the first time you're hearing about Bitcoin rainbow, go look at it. But it's been a long bear market, guys. Crypto was dead for a long time, and even just the level we're at right now is just really exciting for me and gets me really bullish about the upcoming year 2025, especially with the recent pumps that we've been seeing. So exciting stuff there, and it's just a matter of how do we convert that and capitalize on those moments for K9 token, for K9 holder base, for K9 social media accounts, everything K9. We want to follow that trajectory, and I think being under the greater Shib umbrella, we've got a great place in the market to make that happen. So I'm excited.
Funk is very excited. I appreciate your bullish outlook on things, and I don't know about super cycles, but like you said, it just seems like the long cycle. We're somebody said the other day, as far as we are past halving, it seems like you look back and it's been a minute, but it really hasn't in terms of how much time it's been since just the Bitcoin halving, and we've got the election looming. People are still trepidatious about that. Was the post failed assassination market boom based on a perceived Trump win, and does that mean that what's coming in November might be even better? Who knows? These are all things to stay tuned for next week on another exciting. No, I'm not ready to wrap up yet, but that would be how you do it if you wanted to leave people on a cliffhanger. I actually want to get Turtle's last thoughts and hear from Adam one more time before we close out the show. Turtle, before we go, what are you thinking about between now and next week? What do you need people to do? Obviously, go on the forum.k9finance.com, sign up. I always love that Thursdays, I've heard through the grapevine that Thursdays might be one of the days with highest activity. I'm going to tell myself it's because I badger people relentlessly in the spaces to go and log in and check their stuff because there's important stuff happening. But what else are you thinking about between now and next time, Turtle?
Yeah, between now and next week, I would say whales should be excited. There's a little something coming. I don't know if Buzz will mention it or you'll see it coming soon. Everyone else should really get familiar with the docs. That'll really prepare you for using the app and the platform. And if you see opportunities for us to say it better, do it better, or educate folks better, step up, do it yourself, let us know. We'll do it, but just get in touch, help us kind of bring the product to market.
Appreciate you, man. All the work this week. By the way, you were the winner of Spaces this week, doing, it sounded like carrying more load than anyone else in your shovel, based on what Buzz and everyone else had to say. So everybody, round of applause for Turtle. Turtle's the Spaces champion this week. Put it in the notes. Make sure it circulates around. Turtle gets the biggest PFP on the Spaces this week. We appreciate everything that you did, man. And I know the behind the scenes stuff, it's fun because I get to come out here and we get to make all the noise on Spaces. But you got a group of people. Can you please pass on the good word to everyone else that you see along the way and be like, hey, man, the people on spaces were really excited with us because it makes them feel good. I don't know if you need to throw an internal office pizza party, if that's the kind of culture it is, but send them a pie on us. Adam, it's been a week. It'll be another week till the next spaces. What's on your mind till then?
I think we're in for a really exciting, upcoming week here, right? So we have, Bitcoin Nashville. Normally these Bitcoin conventions are kind of sell-off events, but this one is really different, right? We have a Trump appearance there. We have, obviously the terrible occurrence of the attempted assassination, which did pump the market, and it shows that, he's obviously pro-crypto. His cabinet's pro-crypto as well. And I think we might see some more activity on the chart here for the upside into the following week. But anything can happen, but that's just been weighing on my mind. I'm like, really different than normal, of course. But as far as what people here can do, listening in and in post, I would say there's never been a better time to inform a friend, inform a community about what's being built on KNINE here, right? That's what I did with June. He took it upon himself, full credit to him, and made a video. He didn't need to do that, but he did because he got excited about me being excited about it, right? So that's kind of my call to action is every single person here, you probably heard something that was exciting, right? Go ahead and, encapsulate that, tell a friend about it, and you never know what that ripple effect can result in, right? Maybe a video, maybe a buy on the chart at a great time before, things really start kicking off. Words have huge impact. So now would be a great time to spread the word.
Appreciate you, Adam. It's always good to hear that type of sentiment. And you're right, because it is just as easy as one-on-one communication, man. That's all it takes. It's one communication. Funk, between now and then, we've talked about what you've got going on with raid days. What are your final thoughts before we head out?
Not much. I am going to be a little bit away this weekend and earlier this week, which is good because I was just mentioning, I don't think I've had like a true vacation from crypto since like 2021 or something like that. So it'll be nice to go touch grass, as they say, and come back reinvigorated with some new inspirations for how I could help KNINE Finance and how we're going to, make that success. I'm really excited for ETH Toronto. A lot of great things coming up at ETH Toronto, guys. Can't tell you, the marketing calendar is absolutely stacked. And all the metrics are up and everything's looking good. So I'm just excited for the upcoming months here with KNINE.
Yeah, man, have a good time on the vacation, man. We'll catch up next time at the spaces, and I can't wait to hear what you did and what the grass felt like. I've heard about it before. Buzz, last thoughts before we go. What are you thinking?
So tomorrow at 1 p.m. In our KNINE Whale Chat, we're going to be doing the first ever unveiling, and left this till the end, but it's probably the most exciting thing, is the first ever unveiling of the full end-to-end KNINE product. We'll be doing a private demo 1 p.m. in the Whale Chat. It'll be myself, Turtle, Shima, I'm sure Funk will be there as well, some other friendly faces, walking everyone through end-to-end exactly how the product works and answering everybody's questions in an intimate setting there in our Whale Chat. So if you are someone who's been thinking like, maybe I want to become a whale, but haven't done it yet, could be a really great time to be part of that experience, to be the first people who will ever get to see the product. And after that, kind of getting ahead of myself for what's going to be going on next week, but the whales will also be the first ones to get access to the beta product. So it'll be password protected, where only the whales will be able to test it first. So everyone who's in there is continuing to get those perks, and we'll be the first ones to see it tomorrow, but also the first ones that'll be able to touch and feel it. And there could be a really great advantage, not only in education that comes out of that, but also in starting to plan how people might want to use the product for their own portfolio, to do some personal planning there.
Exciting alpha at the end of the show. That's one of the things we talk about. You don't know what's coming in the whale group. So the live demo tomorrow at 1 p.m., I assume Eastern Standard Time, in an intimate whale chat setting. And you can get in there if you want to. You can still have time between now and then to send a message to Turtle or anybody else in the Telegram. If you're not yet in there, you could get in there. There's also cool things like merch and access to ETH Toronto tickets and other benefits of being in there. I heard you get access to Buzz more intimately in there. You can actually win Buzz in there from what I've heard. This has been cool. I don't have any final thoughts other than I'm just looking forward to getting closer. We're actually like less than a month away now from East Toronto. So this is big news. We're getting down to crunch time. I can't wait to see everybody buckle down and get their S done because like Buzz said in the hackathon description earlier, a lot of people procrastinate. It's just human nature. So I can't wait to see as everything comes together and the FOMO for Toronto builds, the understanding of the product grows larger. Like you said, the markets are changing and we're going to be here every 7 to follow it on the KNINE weekly DAO update spaces. That's what we do. It's the best show on X. It's why you guys come up. It's why we fill it out. No community has shows like this. Look at the audience that we get through here. We get legends throughout the Shiba Inu space. I watch, by the way, I scroll as people are talking and I see who comes in and out. I know not everybody that's here now gets to come in and stay, and not everyone that started ends the show with us. But as you guys are welcome to come up. I see familiar faces. I will start calling out. I see Barkoshi. I see Maya, Radar. I see you lurking down there. I know Lucy was in here earlier. These are all people you're welcome to come up and hang out. And even if you don't have much to say, you can always come up because it always bumps our circulation too. You guys are all friends. It's all KNINE Shibarium stuff. So on a day, particularly like today, if you guys want to come hang out, that's what the show is for. I guess that'd be my final call to action. Same thing that goes for any KOLs. Dan was going to come up earlier, but he had connection problems and stuff like that. So just anybody who ever wants to come hang out, remember the Thursday show is our place to come hang out. You're all going to look back and be like, remember when it was small? Remember when we could all get a speaker spot? So stay tuned and we'll set up another reminder for next week. Next week will be episode number 27 and I'll have a new theme ready to go and we'll tune in at the same time at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Follow the KNINE Finance account. Follow everybody that was a speaker so you get their updates throughout the week. And then you can follow me. If you can find me, my regular account is at CryptoPulse9. I'm Pulse Digital. I'm up here in the KNINE account. I'm lucky enough to get to do this every week. Thank you guys for letting me host yet another KNINE Finance Weekly DAO Update Spaces. We will see you in 7 days at the next show, guys. Have a great day. I appreciate you.